Maybe you have told me every detail of your Valentine's Day plans, or maybe I'm not really your therapist and you're just here to get my take on these Reddit stories. And today I've got some Valentine's Day stories for you. Am I the a-hole for asking my boyfriend to return the Valentine's Day gift he got me? Different people feel differently about returning gifts in general. Sometimes your partner has a good idea, but it's like in the wrong color or something. Let's see what their reasoning is. I'm probably a totally ungrateful, but please hear me out. My boyfriend got me a Bath & Body Works gift set. If anyone here, other women, know anything about Bath & Body Works sets, it's something you buy as a generic gift for 12-year-old girls. That is pretty accurate. I've received these gift sets every Christmas in my early teens from my aunts, like every single year. It's not a bad gift, but it's generic and something you usually gift to young girls or women when you have to buy something and don't know what else to get. Yeah, I feel like that's gonna be a big part of this, is he probably didn't know what else to get. The second I saw it, I told my boyfriend, thank you for the card and the Bath & Body Works gift set. I appreciate the sentiment, but it's a gift for 12-year-olds. Oh, okay. There's the a-hole moment. You didn't have to say that, and we are returning it. He got upset, extremely upset. He looked at me and said, I don't understand. You always ask me to rub lotion on your back, so I got you the cocoa butter like you always use. Instantly, the neurons in my brain started firing, and I felt like a complete piece of... To him, as a dude, Bath & Body Works is the place, the only place, that sells lotion. It makes complete sense that he bought that for me. He knows I use lotion every day, so Bath & Body Works was the perfect gift in his mind for me for Valentine's Day. I don't use their brand because, again, it's really for a younger age group. But he's a guy, he could have never known that. We are in our late 20s/early 30s. I think I'd argue that it's not that it's for younger girls, it's that you reach an age where you realize what absolute quality it is. I used to work at Victoria's Secret, which, if you didn't know, is the same company as Bath & Body Works, and their lotion lines in particular are just so cheap. I'm not saying inexpensive, but I'm saying cheaply made. I remember realizing that in my late teens, just kind of recognizing, oh, these all have the same nasty smell underneath. Unfortunately, who are people more willing to buy kind of cheaper products for? Often young girls who aren't buying it themselves. After I understood that he bought it as a thoughtful gesture and not as a generic girl gift, I felt absolutely awful, like a complete piece of shit. I apologized, he apologized, but he's still mad and thinks I am an ungrateful. I tried to explain the above to him, but he doesn't understand. He says if I bought him a banana or a used shirt for whatever holiday, he would say thank you, love it, and be happy no matter what. So Reddit, please tell me, am I the a-hole? Well, that's easy for him to say because he didn't get a present that he didn't love. It can be so embarrassing to have a negative reaction to a gift that you've been given. I really feel for this person because I also wouldn't have really wanted this gift. And I think that that's okay. I think it's all about the way that you would go about it. You know, if you really hate it and are never gonna use it, I think it's okay to like explain really compassionately, like, thank you so much for this gift. It was so thoughtful and I can really see your thinking and that means the world to me. I'm not gonna end up using this lotion, but I'd love to bring it back and I'll go get a similar cocoa butter and that will be like my gift from you. And I really appreciate the thought. But then again, everybody's different. And for some people, what I just said would be super rude. That's pretty much how we function in my household because it's way more important to us to love the belongings that we're gonna bring into our home and to make sure that we're getting the other person something that they really love, that I think we would rather go through the work of returning or exchanging something. But yeah, you really don't want to kind of be mean about it. You don't want to be like, what were you thinking? Like when you're rude while you're rejecting a gift, it does often come off as ungrateful. And it sounds like if she had taken a longer pause, she probably would have thought of some of these reasons that this was actually a thoughtful gift. So this story is just kind of a plug for emotional regulation and being able to feel something intense without immediately acting on it, because you might have words accidentally come out of your mouth. Quote, I told my boyfriend, thank you for the card and the Bath & Body Works gift set. I appreciate the sentiment, but it's a gift for 12-year-olds and we are returning it. You're the a-hole. This is really rude. Exactly. It's all in that sentence right there. You're the a-hole. Haven't you heard the phrase, it's the thought that counts? He remembered you like lotion and massages, put two and two together, and went out of his way to get you something more personal than a standard heart-shaped box of chocolate from the grocery store. and then you complained about it. That's a good point. When I think of someone who doesn't know what to get their girlfriend for Valentine's Day, I think of things like chocolates, roses, balloons, giant teddy bears. And don't get me wrong, I love all of those things. But this wasn't even a super typical Valentine's Day present. So it is interesting that her first assumption was he didn't put any thought into this. But clearly it has a lot to do with the connotation she has of Bath & Body Works. When she first started to have feelings about the gift after she opened it, she should have excused herself, honestly, and said she needed to go to the bathroom or something. Taking a few minutes to like let those emotions come through her, to be able to consider other options, to be able to consider it in the context of her relationship, and to try to take on the perspective of her boyfriend. You're the a-hole. All you had to do is say thank you. You're the a-hole because of the way you said it. If you had just quietly returned it or regifted it on your own and then made a show of what your favorite brands are so that he would be aware of them next time, that would have been a bit better. Even something like, thank you for the thoughtful gift, but this scent is too sweet for me. Would you be upset if I exchanged it and showed you the scent I like? Would have been better. Yeah, I agree. That would have been a great way to go about returning something that you're not going to use, but being compassionate about your partner's feelings. The 12-year-old comment just sounds belittling. What did you get him? It doesn't matter. You're the a-hole. I'm just curious. OP said, the second person to ask. I made us dinner tonight because going out on Valentine's Day sucks. He loves surf and turf and it's expensive as F. I made filet mignon, lobster tail, mashed potatoes, and green beans. Also, I got him a card and 2 shirts for work because he told me a little while ago his coworkers said he always wears the same shirts. He said he needed more large-sized shirts and that's what I got him. Well, okay, that's a lot. You know, maybe part of this has to do with differing expectations of what Valentine's Day is going to be. Checking in with your partner at least once about your expectations for a holiday can be incredibly insightful and help avoid a lot of fighting and resentment. My husband and I check in every year because every year is kind of different for us, depending on so many factors, like what our other financial goals are, what we did for Christmas, just what we're in the mood for. It sounds like you're resentful that you did so much and he did, in your eyes, so little. But gift giving shouldn't be competition. Like others have said, it's the thought that counts. Maybe you're putting too much emphasis on all of this. Your gifts were very nice. His was too, in that it came from a good place and was an honest effort. You could say something like, in the future, Bath & Body Works is not my favorite, but thank you for being thoughtful. I personally think even that would have probably come across too harsh, but that's partly just my personality. I just can't stand hurting someone's feelings, so if I'm gonna do something that I know is rejecting, I want to do it as sugary sweet as I can so they still feel loved. And I guess you don't have to do that, but it does go over better a lot of the time. But it seems to me like part of the problem is that she was actually angry with him in that moment. And that is really hard to manage in front of the person giving you a gift if their gift has made you angry or disappointed or sad. If you've practiced a lot of emotional regulation, you might be able to just breathe through that and get to that other side where you're thinking about all of the other possibilities that might be impacting this gift. But like I said, if you're not there, I think the best thing you can do is take a break. That might kind of make it clear that something happened with the gift, but it's still often better than having a big reaction in front of the person who gave you the gift. So the problem is not that this person wanted to return the gift or that they did not like the gift, it's the way that she expressed that in her heightened emotions in the moment. Am I the a-hole for being annoyed my husband showed my Valentine's Day gift? For Valentine's Day, I, 26, gave my husband, 27, a homemade coupon book with a bunch of little coupons he could redeem whenever he wants to, back rub, date night, etc. It was a cute idea I found out about on social media, and I added my own little spin to it. Some of the coupons were and dirty to make it fun. I love this idea. I feel like that's a great present for Valentine's Day. Little coupon books are always so thoughtful, and I agree that adding in some spicier coupons is a great idea to add an extra flair to it. Taking notes. So this morning I learned that my husband, when he was out with friends on Thursday night and the topic of Valentine's Day came up, showed the coupon book to his friends. Aw, he's like showing off what his wife made for him. To me, that's really cute, but I don't think that's how OP felt about it. I was very surprised as some of the stuff was what I consider personal and private. For example, one was for what I call the hips and hand treatment. It's something he especially likes. That is so funny, but that's all it is. Like, the worst thing that's gonna happen is that somebody finds your particular quirks like funny, and that's kind of harmless too, isn't it? I've worked as a therapist the last couple of years. It's something I've been moving away from because there's just so much to know and so much to keep up with, and I already specialize in trauma. But throughout that time, I learned so much and I heard so much. And whatever you're embarrassed about with your sex life, I promise you there are so many people going through the same but different experiences. So it's great to just be able to kind of, not take yourself too seriously, and like this author's doing here, be like, yeah, I give him the hips and hand treatment. He likes it. I feel like this was a breach of our privacy. I don't know. I want to be sensitive to the fact that OP felt like this was a breach, and it makes me curious about like what her experience is with maybe being like against her will. Unfortunately, the majority of women have experienced that since a very young age, so it's possible that that is being activated by this. But in healthy adult relationships, unless you've outright had the conversation and said, hey, I don't want you to share anything about our life or anything about this particular aspect of our life, I kind of feel like it's a little bit fair game to talk to your friends about. Like, I think it's very normal for a lot of people to talk to their friends about their sex life. In what context did your husband share this coupon book with his friends? Was he sharing it to make fun of you, or was he sharing it because he loved it in a look how awesome my wife is way? His intentions would definitely affect how much of an a-hole either of you are in this scenario. That didn't even cross my mind, but hopefully that goes without saying. If you're sharing anything about your sex life to make fun of your partner, I feel like that's a different story. But OP said, I think there was some slight bragging if I had to guess. In that case, honestly, just be happy your man liked what you did to the point he was bragging to his friends about how great you and your gift are. I can see where you're coming from, but honestly, I don't think he even thought about the contents like you did. Maybe just saying something along the lines of, I'm glad you liked the gift I got you, but it kind of embarrassed/irritated me that you let them see the private things I put in the coupon book. I would have rather you just explained the idea than actually share something that was so private to me. I think different relationships will have different tolerances about this sort of thing. For me personally, I would consider this a disrespect of my boundaries and would consider the husband the a-hole here, because I'm a private person and I wouldn't want random people to know intimate stuff about me. But I've been fairly clear with my partner about this from the beginning. But other people have a more open attitude about sharing information with friends, which isn't wrong either, because they see their friends as being a safe space, which can be a very healthy and supportive space to be in. Yeah, I agree. I guess I'm just more like that. So I'm leaning toward not the a-hole, since it's not clear if a conversation has been had about the particular boundaries you may both have around this, and it's not clear of your husband's intentions in sharing the information. I can totally see why you would be annoyed by this, but it can easily be overcome by having a frank discussion about what information you feel comfortable with him sharing outside the relationship. Exactly. Once again, communication is knocking at your door. I am divorced, but I would totally take this as a brag on how wonderful I am and how much my husband loves me. Would I be a bit irked that some coupons were salacious? A bit. Sometimes how you frame something matters. It's totally okay to have a different perspective, but it would be during dinner kind of thing. Honey, I know you were bragging on me, but it made me feel uncomfortable for others to have such an intimate view of our relationship. In the future, maybe could you try not sharing with your besties, please? No yelling, be specific, make sure you frame it as how you feel. It's not a judgment, really. You are working through things together. Yeah, these are some great scripts people are providing for how you can communicate your comfort level to your partner. It's totally okay for you to not be comfortable with something that somebody else would be comfortable with. You just have to communicate that, and ideally before something like this happens, if it's something that you are aware is important to you. Am I overreacting for not wanting to go to my boyfriend's important event because he did nothing for Valentine's Day? Are we noticing a theme around communicating our expectations for Valentine's Day? I will die on this hill. I think everything goes so much more smoothly when you've discussed what you're planning to do with your partner. My boyfriend, 36 male, is having a big event, and I, 33 female, really don't want to go because I'm upset about his lack of effort on Valentine's Valentine's Day. I really want to talk to him about my disappointment and would have done so today under normal circumstances, but I don't want to bring it up and ruin the mood right before his event that's about to happen. But I also don't want to go to the event feeling like this because it will be really hard for me to sit there with all his friends and family and pretend to be happy when I'm not. I don't have a poker face. On the one hand, it can be very emotionally mature to consider whether it's a good time for this kind of conversation, but on the other hand, if not communicating is going to have some obvious consequences, that has to be taken into consideration. So here's what happened. Okay, let's hear it. I'm 33 and he's 36. This is our third Valentine's Day together and the first one since we started living together recently. For our first 2 Valentine's Days, we went out to dinner, he bought me flowers, we exchanged gifts, even though we lived pretty far apart. So I figured it should be easier to do things for each other now that we're under the same roof. We woke up this morning and said Happy Valentine's Day to each other. I made him an amazing from-scratch breakfast that took me 2 hours to prep/make. I had been planning for it and researching the best recipes for what I wanted to make for the past week and a half. I knew he would prefer this over a random box of candy. I also made him a homemade dessert, which also took time, and gave him a heartfelt Valentine's Day card. I read through dozens of cards to find the one that fit perfectly. Okay, we do have to stop and note that OP is playing this up a little bit to dramatize the selection of the Valentine's Day card. Speaks volumes about the emotions that OP's coming to this with. I would have normally done even more, but I'm not working at the moment. I took a few months off to focus on getting a professional certification. So I made the best of the situation. The whole day went by and I didn't get anything from him. I was thinking maybe he was going to take me out to dinner. But then when dinner came, he said he was just going to have leftovers. Oh, I bet that moment was awful. Then after, I gave him his card and dessert. I just sat there looking at him for a minute. I think it finally dawned on him that he hadn't given me anything. So he goes rummaging through the closet for several minutes and pulls out a box of candy that he had bought for another occasion. And he gives me the candy and says, I didn't get a card. I feel torn because on one hand, I feel like it's just Valentine's Day. What's the big deal? But on the other hand, it really hurts my feelings that he doesn't seem to care about making me feel special. He worked from home today and then immediately after work, he went online to watch streams and play games. He couldn't go get me a card or a flower. We live in a big city. There are at least 5 stores within 5 minutes of us, or even a handwritten note, or make a dinner reservation. I just feel hurt and upset, but I don't want to say anything and seem ungrateful or entitled. I'm always there for him whenever he has something going on, but he can't even do anything for me on one of the rare designated days of the year. I don't ask for much from him and I can't even get the bare minimum. Why doesn't he want to do things for me like I want to do things for him? I really want to stay home and reflect on everything and figure out what I'm going to say to him. But I know he wants me to go to his event, but I don't really want to go anymore. So am I overreacting? I don't think that this person is overreacting. I just think that this is why it's so helpful to set those expectations ahead of time. People really project a lot onto their partners. And to be clear, this partner probably should have noticed all the work that his girlfriend was putting into Valentine's Day and had a moment of recognition that he should reciprocate something. But at the same time, we all tend to project a lot onto our partners. And a lot of the times it's not fair and doesn't end well to expect other people to read our minds or just know what we want. Did you tell him what you wanted for Valentine's Day? That you expected to go out for a meal, etc.? Whether you agree with it or not, my marriage is pretty happy because of it. I just say, I want this thing and flowers, and I would like to go out to dinner on Friday night. Then he goes, I want this link, and on Saturday I want to get pizza and see the new Captain America. So that's what we're doing, and everyone's happy. Yeah, this person's echoing what I'm saying about just communicating what you want for the holiday. I don't think you have to go into that much detail. You can still leave a lot of room for surprises, but you can say something like, I'm gonna make you something, and I'm wondering if you would be willing to take me out. And then you both get to incorporate what you want, which in my opinion is ideal. OP said, I didn't, but our first 2 Valentine's days, he made sure to get me flowers and a card/gift and have an outing planned, and he knows how happy it made me, so I didn't think I would have to tell him to do it. It would be like me buying him a birthday gift every year, and then one year I just stopped, and then I ask him, well, did you tell me you wanted a birthday gift? I feel like certain things you shouldn't have to tell someone. I want someone who cares about making me happy without being told to do so. Yeah, I get that. I think that that can be a fair point. Again, that's partially why I say I don't think you have to go into detail about what you want. I think that you can just generally have the conversation of like, I want to celebrate Valentine's Day. OP said that they are taking some kind of sabbatical from work and that this is their first Valentine's Day living with their boyfriend. So that's most likely a higher financial strain on him, right? I mean, I don't want to make assumptions, but that seems like it must be the case. That seems like it could be a factor here. It's normal to feel upset, especially when you see everyone around you getting the love and attention they deserve. My suggestion is attend the event and then discuss your feelings in private afterwards, because it would be overreacting if you don't attend the event. Show him you're the bigger person, but don't let him get away with this. It's not about the materialism or consumerism, but about the gesture. A handwritten card or a bouquet of flowers isn't that much effort. He literally could have gone to get it after breakfast. All the negative comments here telling you that you're in the wrong are either delusional people in a similar situation who choose to be in denial or bitter because they're single. Well, that's a hot take. However, I don't think you should let your emotions get in the way of you attending this event. You shouldn't want to hurt him. I'm not insinuating you are, but I'm saying that maybe it would hurt him. And this isn't tit for tat. OP says, thank you so much for this perspective. The idea of going to this event is really hard right now, because for me, the idea of not attending the event was not at all to be spiteful or get back at him for hurting me. It was for my own well-being, since he clearly doesn't prioritize my well-being or happiness. I genuinely just don't have a poker face, and I know all his friends are going to be coming up, asking me how things are going, as they often do, especially since this will be my first time seeing many of them since we started living together. I'm sure they'll be wanting to talk, and I don't want to come across as rude if I'm tight-lipped, but also I don't think I can lie to them and say things are great. If it was a smaller social meeting, maybe I could hack it, but this is going to be a bigger event and I can't dodge everyone. The other thing I didn't mention in this post is that this is not the first holiday he's done the bare minimum for, and we talked about it last time. I told him how I felt about it, which makes it even more shocking that he did nothing today. I'm starting to feel that he's fine in the relationship as long as he's getting what he wants. He's a way more social person than I am, and he always has a lot of events to attend, sometimes for his friends, family, co-workers, or this time for himself. And I've been at every single one, literally every one, without question. Even though I'd rather be at home with a good book 90% of the time, I go because I know it's important to him to have me there. So why can't he care about what's important to me? I wasn't trying to be spiteful by not attending, but after writing this comment and reading it over, maybe not going to the event will be the wake-up call he needs. That he can't just neglect me and expect me to be there every time he needs me, as I've been for years. Maybe he needs to learn that his actions have consequences and that I'm not a doormat. Interesting. It sounds like OP's saying that her boyfriend has a lot of these events, so maybe it's not like a once-in-a-lifetime event that she would be missing that she would really regret. I do get what she's saying about not allowing herself to get into a dynamic where she's always giving and not receiving in return. That adds an extra context that she's had a conversation like this before with her partner. You are not overreacting. I can relate, and I did have that conversation yesterday. I'm up right now because I couldn't sleep from being upset. This is why this holiday sucks. My boyfriend said he'd make it up to me, but who cares now, in my opinion? Anyway, your feelings are valid and deserve to be acknowledged. Communication is the most important aspect of a relationship, so it's best to find out now if you guys can do that effectively. Otherwise, you will end up miserable. Best of luck. Happy Valentine's Day. Wow, well, that's a great point about why a lot of people don't like Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is one of my favorite holidays. It's so cheerful and I love pink and it kind of brightens up the winter, but that is an interesting reminder of why so many people struggle with this holiday. There are too many expectations put upon it. There's too much meaning being made out of it. Some people go their whole lives without really celebrating Valentine's Day. If you've had those conversations, there's less of an excuse, but even so, people mess up. I personally have dropped the ball on a birthday before, and it sucks. It sucks to realize that you did that, and I appreciate the people in my life letting me make it up to them and letting me get them more later. OP said, Happy Valentine's Day. I'm so sorry that you're in a situation too. I also haven't slept all night, been tossing and turning. And yeah, I feel the same way about making it up to someone. You didn't care on the actual day. Why care now? Because I'm upset? When you knew beforehand that I would be upset? Okay, there is a difference between knowingly and intentionally doing something to upset your partner and being careless and not thinking ahead and accidentally doing something to upset your partner. Neither are great, but the latter is not as malicious. So I just think that that is kind of important to know. As far as communication, I can have difficult conversations with him. It just seems like a lost cause to do it before his event. I'm not going to the event regardless. If I talk to him before, it'll just ruin his mood before the event. At least if I wait until after, he can enjoy his event, and the outcome for me is the same. I'm not going to the event, but at least his time doesn't have to be ruined. Well, except for where he's probably going to be wondering and ruminating on why you're upset with him and why you're not coming to the event. It's not like he's not going to notice. Not overreacting. You are being way too nice. You are still considering his feelings when he doesn't seem to care about yours. It's not even about Valentine's Day. It's about matching the effort put into the relationship. All that work you put into making him a special breakfast and dessert, and he couldn't even run out and get you a freaking card with flowers. Sorry, but I would be evaluating the future of this relationship. I would also make it clear how disappointed you are in his actions. Stop worrying about the feelings of someone when that someone doesn't worry about your feelings. Listen, on Reddit, you are going to get a lot of opinions like this that are quick to go no contact and end relationships and that reflect very black or white thinking. Don't listen to them. That's just a part of the culture that you have to see through. There is an update to this post. Update. I didn't go to the event, but we did end up talking about it beforehand. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. I feel like that needed to happen. I needed to prioritize my own mental health and well-being. I thought I would feel terrible not going, but I actually feel empowered. It was one of the first times, if not the first time, where I've made the decision to do what's best for me, even if it might cause someone else to be unhappy. For as long as I can remember, I've been a people pleaser. I always want everyone else to be happy, even at my own expense. Well, what a fascinating little spin came out of that. I think that that is healthy for OP to experience. And sometimes I believe we do have to play around with being able and willing to say no, to decline things sometimes that are actually sapping a lot of our energy, so that we can find that healthy balance where we can maybe give to our loved ones, but also reserve enough energy to be our authentic self and share our gifts with the world. So it comes time for the event, and my boyfriend could tell I wasn't happy. This is what I was trying to tell people on my original post. I don't have a poker face. If I'm really unhappy, people will be able to tell. Yeah, I can relate to that. So I didn't want to go to his event feeling that way and have to try to make up excuses for why I'm unhappy. That was the reason I didn't want to go, not to spite him for not doing anything for Valentine's Day. So anyway, he noticed I wasn't happy, and he asked me what was wrong. I told him I wanted him to go enjoy his event and we can talk after, and he insisted I tell him what's wrong now. He then said, I know I didn't really put much effort into Valentine's Day. Is that it? This led to us having an in-depth conversation where I expressed my feelings about his lack of effort in doing things that make me feel special. He apologized, said he didn't think it would be a big deal or that I would be so upset, and that now he knows so it won't happen again. So I also let him know I wouldn't be going to the event. I think he was shocked because I always go to everything, regardless if I want to go or not, or if something is going on with us. I do think that that's reasonable. You shouldn't be under an obligation to put your feelings aside and go and support him at this event. And sometimes when our loved ones apologize, it doesn't mean that the feelings have passed. It doesn't mean that we are over it. So it's totally reasonable to take some space, in my opinion. I am really glad that you communicated the reason for it beforehand and that you didn't just leave him guessing. I'm still not feeling 100% back to normal, if I'm honest. I have mixed feelings, and I don't know if he's just saying he's going to change to shut me up, or if he's actually going to put more effort in. Something still just doesn't sit right with me about the fact that he was completely okay / oblivious to doing anything for me on Valentine's Day. It just makes me wonder if this is a sign of what the future will look like with him. Me going out of my way to make him feel special on special days and other days, and him being fine with never doing anything in return. I too go to this catastrophizing place whenever anything goes wrong, and I think it's really helpful to challenge that information, bring in some balanced thinking, see if you have any evidence to the contrary. I wonder if when this OP sits there and thinks about it, she really can't think of times that her boyfriend has gone out of his way to make her feel special. I'd be interested in hearing whether there are actually examples of those times, and if her perspective is being a little bit clouded by how disappointed disappointed she was with this holiday. So he says now he knows so it won't happen again. But in your previous post, you said this is not the first holiday he did this for. We talked about it last time it happened, and then now he does it again on Valentine's Day. How many times do I need to communicate the same thing? So, are you buying this line again? When is the next holiday he's supposed to get you something? How much time did he buy himself this time? I was also thinking about this, and it is worth noticing patterns. It is strange that this is becoming a pattern. If he has time to dick around for 4+ hours playing video games, he had time to make an effort. He's trying to cover his, and truthfully, that excuse gives me the ultimate ick. I'd give him the benefit of the doubt once and once only. If he can't figure it out after that, I'd be ending. Yeah, that is a fair point. It really isn't a good look for him that he just chose to ignore this holiday, while there was clear evidence that his girlfriend was going above and beyond. In my relationship, we talk about gift-giving holidays in advance. We then make a decision of how we will celebrate each year. Exactly this. I think for a lot of couples, it can be different every year. Your life is so dynamic. Your needs and desires are not going to stay the same. Some years we agree to exchange gifts and cards and try to aim for the same budget. A few years we have opted to buy something we both want that's expensive or use the gift money for part of a holiday we plan to do. This year we decided on quality time. We took the day off of work mostly and grabbed a drink and lunch and had good heart-to-hearts. We agreed on note cards this year in advance. I love this. Chef's kiss. Again, every relationship is different, so in some relationships this might be too much over communicating, but to me this is perfect. This helps set the expectations. This gives you both a chance to provide some input about what you're hoping for, and you guys get on the same page ahead of time about what you're gonna do. Sometimes you just need to discuss expectations or wants from a holiday in advance. This doesn't excuse OP's husband's lack of effort, but it is better than, quote, matching energies and regularly feeling let down or unimportant. Couldn't agree more. And I like that that person specified that it doesn't excuse the way that OP's boyfriend acted. Even at the last minute, seeing her rushing around doing all this stuff, he could have put something together. I don't know what he was thinking. I'm going to say this as lovingly as possible while still being blunt. If it was a priority to him, he would. He would have planned ahead, made a reservation, made an effort, done something to make sure you knew he was thinking about you. It doesn't surprise me that he suddenly dropped the effort now that you live together. Ugh, I hope that that's not a factor here, but it very much could be. Still though, I noticed that nobody is bringing up the point I had about OP saying that they're not working right now. Who do we think is paying all the bills, and could that have an impact on the way somebody might be conceptualizing celebrating this holiday? Could he still have done something for free? Absolutely. And he should have, but to me that dynamic would impact things. He wanted to watch streams. He made sure that happened. He could have easily changed the situation if he wanted to. All the stores around him were prepared for last-minute gift grabbing. I know ours were stocked. That's so true. Every convenience store, every corner store is loaded up with chocolate and roses during this time. You can usually find something. I called a divorce attorney today because I'm tired of being the only one making the effort. It doesn't get better in the long run if it's not even there now. It's up to you if this is something you can accept and be happy with, but it's likely going to be this or less as time goes on. If he wanted to, he would have. I don't know about that. He did majorly drop the ball, but I guess I am a little bit of a softie and I imagine that he could redeem himself. I like that OP chose to prioritize herself and to stay home and take care of her feelings instead of pushing herself to attend this event. And hopefully that will just end up being that wake-up call her boyfriend needs. Am I the a-hole for being mad about my partner not knowing about Valentine's Day? Oh my gosh, this does sound ridiculous, and it is ridiculous, but at the same time, it's that thing I was talking about earlier where some people genuinely go the majority of their lives not really celebrating Valentine's Day. Hello everyone. I, 20 female, have been dating my partner, 20 male, for a year and a half now. Last year for Valentine's Day, he didn't get me anything and also didn't plan anything. I had done a bunch for it, dropping off a drink, his favorite candy, and flowers in the morning before he woke up, spending around $50 on gifts, hand making him a card, and planning an outfit for the date I assumed he was taking me on. I had also told him a while prior that he had to make reservations early for Valentine's Day if we wanted to get in anywhere. He didn't, so that was a rough year last year. Okay. I made it very clear after that day that I was hurt and upset about it and that I expected some effort for Valentine's Day. His defense was that he didn't know he was supposed to get me stuff or plan something for Valentine's Day. Okay, a weak excuse to begin with, and I can only assume we're bringing up last year because it is important context for this year. This morning, I asked if we had plans for Valentine's Day, and he shrugged it off and said that we could go somewhere if I wanted. I started crying and he was confused, so I told him that I had expected him to make plans for us. He replied that he doesn't see why it should all be on him and that he assumed we would plan it together. Well, that does seem like a fair point, although he probably should have communicated that last year when OP was saying that she was upset he hadn't made specific plans for them. That's a reasonable expectation to have for the holiday, but you also have to communicate that if you have a partner sitting in front of you saying that they're expecting something else. Totally reasonable to say, I want to do it together, but he should have said that at that time. He eventually ended up saying sorry and that he would find something for us to do, but honestly, I still feel pretty upset. I feel like I made it clear that I have expectations around Valentine's Day, and I also have said that I am always disappointed with people I date not putting any effort into it. For context, my last partner also didn't do or get me anything for Valentine's Day and also slept through half the time we were supposed to hang out for that day, and my current partner knew about that situation before last Valentine's Day. So am I the a-hole for expecting more? This is a tough one to me because it is a lot of expectations, and I kind of think if you're going to have strong expectations about something, it's reasonable for you to have the responsibility of communicating and over communicating those expectations. Like, you could have mentioned it again in January. What are we doing for Valentine's Day? Are you gonna take me out? It is a little weird to me that this person didn't communicate until the day of. So what are we doing for Valentine's Day? Which makes it feel like part of the expectation is this big surprise and romantic gesture, and I would just be curious with her about where those expectations are coming from. Is she getting this from movies or social media or other sources of information that are kind of misleading? You have a right to celebrate the holiday the way you want to, but you can't control other people to be like puppets in creating something that you want. So you can decide, like, I want us to go and get a reservation for Valentine's Day dinner, but I don't know, it feels wrong to me to try to control making another person make those reservations for you. Again, I think that that should have been communicated more thoroughly by the boyfriend when they were having the conversation last year. It's not okay to just say, yeah, definitely, and then completely ignore the conversation that you had. So in that regard, I understand why OP would be upset. If the boyfriend wasn't on board with those dynamics, I think he should have communicated that ahead of time. And like I said, that would have been well within his right to communicate. P.S. We don't have a very traditional relationship, and neither of us believe in gender roles. I don't think he needed to put the effort in because he's a guy and I'm a girl. More, I expected him to put effort in because he knew it was important to me. Yeah, you would think he would have planned ahead of time something, whether that was a gift or a reservation. Like, I don't think you should be overly anal about he was supposed to reserve dinner for us. If you want that, babe, you reserve dinner. But she would expect him to get her something after she made that clear last year that she celebrates Valentine's Day and that she likes to make a big deal out of it. I assumed we would plan it together is just code for I assumed you'd handle it so I didn't have to. I mean, it's not like you're mad that he didn't read your mind. You are mad because he didn't listen to what you said. And there's a big difference between those two things, not the a-hole. Yeah, I hear what this commenter is saying. I don't think that that's necessarily fair though. I think that planning it together could have included like, okay, are we going out to dinner? Where do you want to go? Now, will you call? That kind of a conversation. But yeah, it is weird that he seems to have just ignored the conversation from last year. Not the a-hole, assuming you effectively communicated, which it seems you have, but hey, I'm only getting one side and it's very plausible he didn't understand it how you intended. But as a practical matter, up to you if you want to reconsider how much weight you're putting on special occasions like this. Perhaps those occasions don't need to be so important and more weight can be given to the other 360 days of the year and how you're generally treated. Still, holidays and celebrations and traditions we do for a reason. We do them to be special and to mark certain special days, but that leaves them very open to building up too many expectations onto them. And especially these days, now that traditional media and social media and advertising strategies are all so tightly wrapped up in these these things, in presenting these holidays a certain way, it can be so easy for expectations to start to be blown out of the water. Some people suck with gifts and special occasion planning. I'm one of them. I also don't particularly like fine dining, and especially not on the busiest day of the year for them. A fair amount of people are like this, and doing all of this stuff is an unpleasant chore full of doubt and discomfort and decision paralysis. Doesn't mean we don't care about our partner or generally treat them well. There are other reasons outside of my partner doesn't care about me or value the relationship that people struggle to actually enact these tasks. I feel like I've dropped the ball for different holidays before, and I really don't think that that is a reflection of me caring about those people any less. It's just a reflection of the way my brain works and how disorganized it can be. And it's great to try to improve that, but it also does not immediately mean that you care less about those people. Getting me candy and trinkets are, in my honest opinion, way less important than just being good to me and a generally helpful partner. I don't care if my wife gets me nothing on holidays, and we usually don't get each other gifts, but our relationship is great and I'm confident that it's mutual. That makes me think of the whole 5 love languages, which can be a helpful little framework to look at the way people feel loved. Some people have a lot more emphasis on gift giving, and sometimes it's just those individual differences in what feels the most important to someone. Am I the a-hole for being upset? My boyfriend ate my Valentine's candies. Hi y'all. My boyfriend, 30 male, and I, 25 female, had a great Valentine's Day. We didn't do anything extravagant, got some Chinese to go, and watched a couple of movies at home. It was a great evening. He surprised me with a big package of 12 or so mini chocolate bars and a shareable size of candies, and a cute little plushie. I was happy as I packed my lunches for work, and this would last me quite a while for a little dessert. For context, here's why I'm upset. I am the main breadwinner in the household, and I rarely get anything for just myself. If I splurge and get a 4-pack of muffins, he gets 2. Or if I get a bag of chips, he gets half. 12-pack of soda, he gets 6. Money is a little tight, so we rarely get to splurge on anything. So most of the time I'm happy to share, but I can't get anything he doesn't like because this man will eat anything. Well, I am just gonna share my gut feeling. I think it's weird that that's where her mind is going, and that like highlights this kind of festering resentment about that financial structure, possibly. I have expressed that I do get a little disappointed sometimes, that I rarely get anything to myself. He understands and is sympathetic. So when he got me these goodies for Valentine's Day, I was under the assumption that they were mine and only mine. After dinner last night, he said he was a little munchy and asked if he could have a couple of the mini chocolate bars. I got a little annoyed and asked, I thought they were for me. He said they are. I was just asking if I could have a couple. I knew it wasn't a big deal, so I said yes. It's just chocolate bars. But am I the a-hole for being a bit annoyed initially? Is it selfish of me, or do I have a right to set a boundary? I know this isn't the end of the world. I just want some damn chocolates to myself. I don't think you're an a-hole for wanting your gift to yourself. My ex used to be like this. We were on the same pay, but he would raid my snack cupboard after he'd eaten all of his. Pissed me off so much, expressed how it made me feel multiple times. It's selfish that they don't listen to boundaries. Yeah, sometimes this is related to how people grew up. Like for example, with my mom and her siblings, the boys were just allowed to take food because they were growing boys who needed it more. If you grew up like that at all, where you never had to learn, no, the food on your plate is yours and that's theirs and you cannot take it. Sometimes people just have this unconscious habit that is really rude. What annoys me the most is I only find out when I go to get the snack I bought myself and it's not there. And they'll tell me they ate it days or weeks ago. They had loads of time to replace it, but never did. And somehow it's my fault it's not there, because if I really wanted it, I should have guzzled it down the instant I brought it into the home. Okay, yeah, they're right. That's not fair. I think you probably have to tell them like, hey, this is mine and I'm gonna save it, but you should definitely be able to save some of your own snacks in your own home. OP said, I guess in his defense, I rarely set a firm boundary. There have been a couple of times where I say, these are just for me, and he respects that, or at least he asks if he could have one. He never just takes it without at least asking. And I know if I say no, he won't. I just feel bad saying no. I love him. I wish he wouldn't even put me in the predicament of having to say no, lol. LOL. I think you should have this conversation with him, not us. Just tell him you loved the gift, but him asking for half of it made it feel like not a gift anymore. I think not the a-hole, or no a-holes here. I just realized that that's what that means. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, I think some resentment is brewing about you being that sole breadwinner. I'd be curious about that situation, what the plan is there moving forward. Are there plans for that to change? Because it doesn't sound like you actually are comfortable with that if you're feeling some type of way about him eating half the groceries. Did I ruin our Valentine's Day? My husband and I, female, went out yesterday for a Valentine's Day lunch and later went to play pool. The pool premises is sci-fi and space themed with astronauts and alien mannequins. Our daughter is obsessed with astronomy, so I thought she would be super excited if I took a picture with the astronaut mannequin. I asked my husband to take a picture of me. I held the hand of the astronaut mannequin in 3 of the pictures. Today I asked him to send the pictures from yesterday. I intended to show my daughter the astronaut. My husband lost it, blaming me for holding the astronaut's hand in his presence. He argued that 99% of the astronauts are men, so technically I was holding another man's hand. I told him there are female astronauts too. He says I'm so disrespectful, that I ruined the day, and that he can't take me anywhere without him being worried that I'll ruin the date. Ooh, that seems like an overreaction. Am I the a-hole? Can this even be real? At the same time, I have heard firsthand a number of extremely petty, insecure fights that couples get into, and I have a few stories of my own, if I'm being honest. So I also believe that there's a strong possibility this could be real. Mannequin jealousy crisis. It's a mannequin. Get the F out of here. Lol, no, you are not the a-hole. This is so ridiculous, I question its validity. Yep, I hear you there. I wish I was lying. I have the pictures. He is ridiculous. Does he act this ridiculous over other things? We had a similar fight 8 years ago when I requested to take a picture with a cop statue in a foreign country. Oh no. Listen, if something like this is happening in your relationship, for one thing, you are not obligated to put up with it. It's not really fair to expect you to put up with it. That's a lot. But if you love this person and you are able to put up with it, maybe just really recognize the level of insecurity that is behind that and just address the hurt. Don't address the anger. Don't engage with that because you've done nothing to warrant them being angry with you, but you can address the hurt underneath it and the insecurity and remind them that you find them amazing. So he waited a whole day to be mad, or he was stewing and festering about this since you first asked him to take the picture. Let's leave aside the utterly unhinged part of this where he's mad that you're holding the hand of an inanimate object representing a human astronaut. Why wouldn't he have said something at that moment when he's taking the picture? He's just sitting there for a whole day simmering and fuming about this. Your husband needs therapy. Not only that, he is weird, like really weird. Seriously, take a step back and ask yourself, how long has he been weird like this? How many times in the past has he been utterly ridiculous like this? If this is really the first time you've noticed him doing something like this, then take him to the doctor and get an MRI on his brain or something, not the a-hole. I agree that therapy is a really good idea to address that level of insecurity. You need to build your self-esteem back up inch by inch if it's that low that you're feeling threatened and feeling like abandonment fears over a mannequin. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend I didn't think she was the type of girl to want me to buy her stuff for Valentine's Day? My 29 male girlfriend, 25 female, and I have been together since March of last year. So almost a year. Oh, and right after Valentine's Day. So you're coming up on your first Valentine's Day together. She is not super materialistic and not really into going to fancy restaurants or spending money on designer clothes and such. I often cook dinner for her and go out of my way to make her feel special and loved. However, the other day she brought up Valentine's Day and asked me if I had anything planned. I have never been one to celebrate Valentine's Day. I don't think I need to spend money just to prove I love my girlfriend. Well, that's true. You can do something for free. I told her this and I thought she would agree with me, but she said she would like it if I got her a gift and we went out to a nice restaurant. I am working on paying off student loans and she knows I don't have very much money to spend on gifts and fancy dinners. If I were OP, I would have maybe negotiated more what she meant by nice restaurant, and if there's an an option that maybe is on the less expensive end, but that would feel fun and out of the ordinary. She is an artistic, sort of quirky girl, and honestly, I did not think she was the type to want me to shell out the big bucks and take her to some overpriced, crowded steakhouse for a manufactured holiday. Oh, OP, they are feeling so much better than the idiots that get scammed into this manufactured holiday. Okay. It really made me view her differently. I bet this reaction is making her view OP differently too. I told her, I am surprised. I really didn't think you were that kind of girl. She went quiet right after I said that, and then later accused me of judging her for wanting to celebrate Valentine's Day. We haven't brought it up again, but I can feel she is still a bit upset about it. Am I the a-hole? Well, I think we have a definitive yes on our hands. You can keep negotiating what you do to celebrate it, but to just act like she's not as cool or quirky as you thought she was because she wants to celebrate Valentine's Day is honestly so pretentious. Listen, is there a lot of consumerism impacting our perception of Valentine's Day? Yes. And I'm all for us breaking away from that and leaning into more sustainable ways of celebrating this holiday. But it's actually kind of an immature perspective to just say Valentine's Day is a manufactured holiday, so you'd be an idiot to celebrate it. It's way more nuanced than that. Celebrations and festivals take on a life of their own among populations, and the meaning of Valentine's Day is constantly changing, both to all of us collectively and to each of us individually. So find out what that holiday means to your partner. You're the a-hole. Your girlfriend expressing her desire for a Valentine's celebration doesn't make her materialistic, and your comment about not expecting her to want that was judgmental and hurtful. Also, she wouldn't have brought up the restaurant or the gift if he had actually let her know that he had literally any plans. Not everything requires money, but let's not pretend OP had anything cheap or free arranged either. Just nothing. She likely thought it was actually less presumptuous to suggest a basic gift and dinner than to tell him she expected something creative and interesting. And then for him to put her on a pedestal based on his own desires for a partner, just to berate her when she falls short. OP, I hope she runs, I'll be honest. I sent my hubs raunchy photos via text because he's out of town on work. He sent me a screenshot of him saving them to his bank, along with compliments. It cost us $0. Love is weird, and Valentine's Day isn't, at its core, about shelling out money. It's supposed to be about shelling out love, however that looks to your partner, child, friends, or family. Yeah, great point, and another creative, dirty little gift idea. I'm not a huge fan of Valentine's Day, but what I can't wrap my mind around is people that judge their significant other for enjoying it. Everyone wants to feel appreciated and loved, and feeling a certain way towards something shouldn't be risky. If she is taking on her part of the household chores, then you making dinner every day is the bare minimum to remain in a healthy, equal partnership. Do you really want props for doing your part in managing the household? Freaking ridiculous. If you want us to believe that you make her feel special every day, then you need to provide more convincing evidence. Ooh, I love that this person is calling it like they see it. That is such a good point. You don't get extra props for just doing your part in maintaining a household, assuming that you value your partnership and each of you getting to live a fulfilling life. This is someone that you are supposed to love dearly, and when she expresses a differing opinion, your reaction is to state that she is buying into the herd mentality, collapsing under peer pressure, and clearly not someone who can think critically. Why would she tell you how she feels ever again when you're going to assume the worst of her? You're not a good boyfriend. You are an arrogant, mean-spirited bully. When she wants to do something special for her birthday, anniversary, or holidays like Christmas, do you also act like she is asking for a blood diamond? If she is someone that you feel is cool and unique, then step up and match the energy with a gift or event that is similar. You don't have to spend a lot of money to show someone that you care about them. Based on this post, it sounds as though you just want to put her down until she leaves you alone so that you can continue to do the bare minimum. If you genuinely love someone, this is not how you treat them. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole. You basically called her materialistic and selfish to her face, and you're wondering why she's upset? You made assumptions about her. None of your assumptions were fact. It's nice that you show you value her all the time, but you couldn't have planned something? Take her to an art gallery she hasn't been to before. Try a restaurant you're both interested in but haven't gone to yet. Heck, you could even make her a gift to save money. Totally agree. You're the a-hole. want me to shell out the big bucks and take her to some overpriced, crowded steakhouse. She didn't say anything like that. Any token of affection will do for Valentine's Day. It's a chance to say you care about someone, and a nice restaurant doesn't have to be pricey. I really didn't think you were that kind of girl. What kind of girl? Someone who would appreciate being shown she's special to you? I don't care how little money you have. You could pull this off without much, instead of trying to make her feel bad about Valentine's Day. Again, you're the a-hole. I hope she dumps you. People are so harsh. I don't hope that OP gets dumped, but I hope that he reads through the comments and really reconsiders his perspective on this. You're the a-hole. There's no such thing as that girl. Women are complex and don't fall into neat categories or types. Your girlfriend has lots of needs, wants, and desires. Surprise, your girlfriend is a human being. Instead of trying to neatly slot her into your ideal girlfriend slot, listen to her and hear what she has to say without being judgmental. And as a by the way, there's nothing wrong with girls who enjoy fancy designer clothes and dining. Yeah, great points. She is trying to communicate her hopes and expectations for the holiday, and this person was kind of really rude about them. Am I the a-hole for forcing my friend to act like my partner for a Valentine's Day couples discount at a restaurant? So me, 17 male, and Ashley, 17 female, went to a fancy restaurant to celebrate the fact that we both got hundreds on an essay worth 60% of our grade. Well, there's problem number one. Why are a couple of 17-year-olds going to a fancy restaurant? You know where I was going to celebrate things when I was 17? The Friendlies down the street. The Olive Garden. But okay. It also happened to be Valentine's Day, but we aren't dating. Anyways, we ordered, talked, and ate. Then the check came. The bill came to be around $220, and I was expected to pay for the entire thing because I'm supposed to be a gentleman. How did you know that? Did somebody say that? Was there an awkward confrontation where you waited for her to put down a credit card? That would make a big difference whether this expectation is actually coming from Ashley or if it's coming from OP themselves. $220 is not in my budget whatsoever, and I wouldn't have chosen to take us there if I had realized it was one of those places where they don't put the prices on the menu. Oh no. So he didn't know it was going to be this much. My steak was $55 and it was about the size of a Burger King Whopper patty. I asked her to actually pay for her food and I'd pay for mine, but she said she didn't bring her card because she expected me to pay. Wow, so we have the answer right there. I personally don't think in this day and age it's excusable to ever go into a meal with the assumption that somebody else is going to pay for you, unless that's been explicitly stated beforehand. But it does make me wonder if Ashley thought that this was a date. She still should have brought her own money if she was going to be eating somewhere, but I wonder if she thought that you were taking her out on a date. I was heading over to the bathroom so I could call my dad and ask to borrow some money when I realized there was a chalkboard sign on the wall that said, Valentine's Day discount. Show up as a couple for 30% off today only. Not a direct quote, but something like that. I explained to her that there was a discount for couples and we'd just ask our waiter to apply it to our bill. But she refused. She said she was uncomfortable pretending to be in a relationship with someone. Literally all she had to do was say that we were a couple. She probably didn't even have to talk. She just had to let me tell the waiter that we were a couple. Wow, every time I try to find a reason to give this girl the benefit of the doubt, it just gets slapped down. That is just a piece of work. I don't know what else to say about that one. How do you expect him to pay for you and also refuse to be seen as being together? The reason I think I'm the a-hole is because I got extremely mad at her. We had an argument and it got so heated that I just got up and left. I drove away and left her there, okay? She could walk home herself. It was like a 10-minute walk. Also, even though she said that she didn't bring her card and she couldn't pay, she did have an iPhone, so she could have used Apple Pay. We're able to see each other's locations and I could see that she did leave the restaurant and walk home. I had planned to eventually pay her for the meal afterwards, at least my part of the bill, definitely not hers, and apologized for forcing her to do something she didn't want to. But I didn't because her parents already paid for us. As an apology, I just took her to an arcade and paid for the games she played, and then we were cool for a bit before we stopped being friends because we just stopped talking. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, I don't really know what to make of this. If you guys aren't friends at this point, I mean, I don't know. I'd want to hear more information about about what the friendship was like outside of this moment, but it's weird to me. Isn't this the answer to the whole thing? She liked you. You went to a fancy restaurant with her on Valentine's Day. I reckon she let her imagination run away from her when you chose that place on that day. I mean, it's Valentine's Day and you went to a fancy place. Surely you would have needed to book the restaurant. She may not have just thought that it happened to be Valentine's Day. She may have read a bit more into that. And to be honest, quite legitimately. It would have been gentlemanly to pay for the meal if it was a date. I appreciate that if is the key word here. I suspect that you may have slightly surprised/upset her when you made it very clear that this wasn't a date and that she'd be paying for her own food. That hurt her and then made her freak out about pretending to be a couple because she may have thought you'd become a real couple. Definitely a possibility. Info: if she is just a friend, why are you expected to pay for her meals? Because he asked her out to celebrate. She's the one who said, if we get above a 90 on this, we should eat dinner somewhere to celebrate. But I chose where we'd actually go, so I guess. Dude, she's not your friend. She suggested you guys go out. She suggested you pay because it's gentlemanly. It's not. And then she refused to get you guys a 30% discount. Friends don't do that to each other. Yeah, our friendship didn't last long. Also, a bit before we cut ties, I found out that she liked me. Girls are so weird. All right, so I guess that is confirmed that she liked you. I feel like that explains a lot if she liked you and thought that this was a date. But I don't think that that's appropriate to just assume the guy is paying, but a lot of women do and are taught to, so I think that's probably what's going on here. Nah, you're good, bro. As friends, the guy is not required to pay the bill. Very true. She's a bad friend for expecting you to pay. Also a bad friend for not wanting to help out to get the discount when it was super simple. To be honest, she's not your friend at all. She's using you for whatever reason, attention, distraction, etc. And it's better to cut ties with someone like that. That could be true. We don't know just based on this. It could be inappropriate expectations. It could be that she's using him. It could be anything in between. Hard to say, but you definitely are not obligated to pay for another person pretty much ever unless you've agreed to it beforehand. Am I the a-hole for receiving gifts from someone else on Valentine's Day? So I, 31 female, have been having a friends with benefits situation with a friend, 32 male, for the past year, and it has been going fairly well. Friends with benefits, some people can maintain that, some people can't. At the beginning of this month, we were watching the telly and there were ads for Valentine's Day discounts and the like, and he commented that he doesn't really believe in celebrating Valentine's Day. And then we had a small discussion about it. I told him what the day meant, but he insisted we have all year to show the person we love that we love and cherish them. So the discussion ended on an agree to disagree note. So on Valentine's Day, I was in the equivalent of Grinch mode because I knew the day was going to be a dead one and went to work as per usual. He called me up and I was busy with something, so it was a quick good morning, ask about the night, and wish each other a good day kind of phone call. At about midday, I suddenly looked up and he was at my workplace. He had not told me he was passing by. Bear in mind, he used to work here previously, so he knows most of my coworkers. He says he had brought in some documents for the boss or something like that. My coworkers do not know we have kept in touch or even have a thing going on, so when he usually passes by, I distance myself from whatever has brought him in. I distinctly heard him wish an older, celibate female, she's a nun, of mine a happy Valentine's Day. Those were some weird details to add, and the gloomy day just became gloomier. That bothered her. Okay. These seem like a lot of feelings for someone to be having about their friends with benefits. It sounds like you want a boyfriend. It turned out the boss he wanted to see wasn't in, so he approached me to help me deliver the documents when I next saw him, to which I told him no problem. He commented and said I was being hostile. I assume because I went back to work after he handed me the envelope and didn't indulge in other niceties. A la, where are you now? How's it going over there? Like everyone else. 2 hours later, I got a delivery of my favorite chocolates without a card. And at about 10 p.m., another delivery of my favorite Chinese takeout and my favorite wine, still without a card. So I posted my gifts and thanked my secret admirer. Apparently, none of the gifts were from him, and now he is mad that I am entertaining other men. I have been fairly loyal considering we are just friends with benefits, but I do have other men interested in me whom I've not discouraged but have not hung out with either. Am I the a-hole for receiving gifts, for eating the chocolate and food, for posting pictures, or is he overstepping his boundaries since he was quick to label this relationship as friends with benefits a year ago? It kind of sounds sounds like OP already knows the answer to her question, doesn't it? I am sensing a lot of frustration about being friends with benefits with this person. Remember when I said that some people can do it and some people can't? If you want more with that person than you're able to get, sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is cut yourself off and end it. And it sounds like this person is a little bit frustrated with that being the status of the relationship. Not the a-hole. If your friend with benefits isn't happy about you potentially being with other men, he should ask you to be his girlfriend. Or get off the pot, as we say. That is a great point. You're wanting the loyalty of a girlfriend without the commitment. Not the a-hole. You're not in a committed relationship. Plus, you can't stop others from sending you gifts. He sounds a little controlling. Not the a-hole. You're not exclusive with your friends with benefits. You didn't know they weren't from him when you posted. If you had, would you still have posted? If I had to take a guess, I'd say probably. It even went through my head. OP could have sent these to herself and just wanted to take that little dig at her friends with benefits because he's not treating this like a relationship and she wants a relationship. If he is getting all grouchy about you, quote, entertaining other men, he needs a reality check. Whatever he's free to do, you're free to do. If he wants exclusivity, then he can step up and ask. He overstepped here. Not the a-hole. The guy needs to decide what kind of relationship he wants. I think that's true, and I think OP has to decide what kind of relationship she wants as well. Who is Valentine's Day for? Do you consider Valentine's Day for both partners or just for the woman? And what is a man expected to pay for, in your opinion, for Valentine's Day? I think some of these expectations have changed generationally. To me, it's for both partners. It's a day that you both express your love for one another and plan a way to celebrate that. Edit, dear Lord, we don't give an F about the obvious. Treating our partners is not what we're debating. We're both fine with that, but the idea we're going over is Valentine's Day just for women, and should men pay for all the activities of the day and their dates, outfits, /hair, /nails, etc.? Or is it a mutual day of gratitude? We aren't stuck on not wanting to pay. Yeah, I think that social media is impacting some of these expectations. Your birthday can be like that. If you are a parent, Mother's or Father's Day can be like that. To me, Valentine's Day is about celebrating the relationship, so it's mutual. Edit 2. I'm also open to listening about how materialistic the day is, but I want you to keep in mind that I am an avid romantic, so I don't mind the excuse. But I do see the exploitation in action. Yes, feel free to pay attention to that. Valentine's Day is for Hallmark cards and chocolatiers. My spouse knows my love 365 days a year for 24 years. I see what they meant about people coming out with the materialistic aspect in the comments. Am I the a-hole for asking a coworker to remove their Valentine's Day flowers? I have a severe allergy to roses. I know that it is not extremely common, but I believe it to be genetic, as my grandmother and mother both had the same allergy. It gets worse the more I am exposed. Symptoms are asthma attacks, swelling of the contact area, face, hives. It depends on how much I was exposed to. If I consume something with roses, I have worse symptoms than if I touch them or am near them. Rose tea, for example, my throat swells up, I get full body hives, etc. Being near roses, I usually just get hives and swelling if I touch them or inhale them. I have an EpiPen and I take daily allergy medicine because it's a really hard allergy to avoid. I work in a large grocery chain pharmacy. Today for Valentine's Day, another tech, the tech manager's spouse, had roses delivered for them. I told her I couldn't be in the pharmacy while they were in here, and she told me to wear a mask and take antihistamines and stay away from that computer, just work on the register today. However, they're pretty close to the register. I'm honestly really upset, and it's really dangerous for me to work this close. They insinuated that it was no different than there being roses other places in the store. Everyone is aware of my allergy. I'm not even sure what to do. I tried to talk to our HR manager, but she's in a meeting and can't be disturbed. So am I the a-hole for asking a coworker to remove her flower arrangement from our workplace? Wow, no, that is pretty serious. If somebody has an allergy, a real allergy to something, that's disruptive enough to them. You'd think that you would want to do everything you could to support them. You can't just put your roses in your car or in a different office for the day. To me, that is so rude. Update. Another technician went to HR because they were concerned. The rose recipient was forced to remove the roses from the work area because it is a personal item that is not required for work purposes. Immediately after, I was asked to remove all personal items from the pharmacy. My jacket, water bottle, and lunch in the fridge, in addition to my study materials, work-related, all had to go out to my car. Oh, that is so petty. I hate that. Immediately after I was asked to remove all personal items from the pharmacy, my jacket, water bottle, and lunch in the fridge, in addition to my study materials, work-related, all had to go up to my car. If this isn't the moment you decided to quit, and I understand if you need to actually make plans and prepare, but if you didn't commit to quitting right then and there, I have to ask, how and when did you lose respect for yourself? I am quick with the quit if you're not being respected. I don't think anybody should be showing companies more loyalty than they're showing them. And for something that petty to be like kind of a clear retaliation after you're just trying to navigate an allergy, I'd be pretty frustrated. I'd be looking at other jobs. Not the a-hole. Quit though. Being revenge asked to take your personal lunch out of the fridge because a coworker is pissy about not being allowed to literally fill your work area with poison is ridiculous. I'd have looked at the person telling me to do that and offered them a chance to change their mind before taking all of my personal stuff all the way home and staying there. That ridiculous. Yeah, that is making my blood boil for them to have then used that policy in that way. Why couldn't they just ask her to remove the roses because somebody has an allergy to them and they are creating an unsafe work environment? OP said, oh, I immediately updated my resume, and as soon as I clocked out, put in half a dozen applications. I scheduled my national board exam last night for today after similar drama. It's not the first time they've been petty, and it won't be the last. As soon as I'm national certified, I can pretty much go to any pharmacy I want. I have an accreditation from a college, almost 10 years in pharmacy, and the only thing I'm missing is the national board cert. Edit to add, I passed my board exam. Perfect. I love that. Yeah, after reading these comments, I would say that you may want to post in a job or legal advice sub. Telling you to endure an unnecessary allergen in the workplace and to take medication for it is not great. Having someone else report that allergen, resulting in you being told you can no longer keep your food in the fridges that are there for this purpose, and refusing to give you space to keep your items that you need to come to work, outwear clothes, coats, etc., is not a good look for this company. They are creating more liabilities by throwing a tantrum over this one. Coworker getting a delivery of a plant you're allergic to. Unfortunate, but easily remedied. Worker refusing to remove plants to their car to avoid inflicting allergies on you and telling you to just take medication is inappropriate. They do not know the extent of your allergies, if they could change how you could react to medication, if the medication could impact your performance or driving skills or health, and it's putting the responsibility on you to keep yourself safe when they've made the working environment less safe for you for no work appropriate reason. Your coworkers should not be dictating your medical or drug intake. When you were told to remove your effects from the premises, was it just you or everyone? If it was everyone, that shows a distinct lack of sense, liability management, and a lack of planning for appropriate worker areas. A fridge for lunches, a place to put your coat, this is pretty standard stuff. Unless your coworkers are allergic to peanuts and you're regularly packing pad thai, this is a very weird reaction to them. If this response was just to you, not to everyone, then this is very clear retaliation. Am I the a-hole has a lot of snarky responses in the comments, but you may need some advice specific to the type of workplace you have and the laws and protections of your region. If you want to go that route, I totally would understand. Personally, I think you're on the right path, just updating your resume and quitting as soon as possible, but it does seem like legally there must be something wrong with that, and you would be well within your right to talk to a lawyer. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.